Hello there. Hi there, everybody. Hopefully we should be live right now on Patreon. I believe it's all gone okay and it is live. Let me just double check. Just want to double check something. 2 seconds. Sorry about this. I always do this at the beginning of every live stream. Just want to double check that it's gone live properly. Just trying to see whether it's actually appearing, and it does look like it's fine. Okay, cool. So, hi there. So basically what we're going to go through today are some of the things that were announced at D23 Expo. As this time last week, it was right in the crux of announcing everything at D23 Expo. We just received some pretty big announcements regarding Epcot, Marvel, and we got a lot of things correct on this channel. So that's fantastic for DSNY Newscast. We predicted a lot of these things to be coming, and they were officially announced. Mary Poppins was one of them. We've been mentioning that one for a long time, and so yes, it finally went out. I just want to double check that the notification went out to everybody. 2 seconds. It's just loading here, and yeah, so 2 seconds.
The best budgeting that you...
Sorry, right, 2 seconds. Yeah, that's all gone. That's fantastic. So basically, with regards to D23 Expo, sorry about a bit of a bumpy start there. We had quite a few things which weren't announced at D23. And that was mainly the Brazil Pavilion. Now, this has been something that has been mentioned for many, many years now. We started covering the Brazil Pavilion back in 2017, around July of 2017, I believe. I think I even posted that video on Independence Day. Hi there, David. Hi. By the way, David, I've seen your message just today on Patreon regarding the private message that you sent me. I'll be responding fairly soon to that. So yeah, hopefully you'll get a message hopefully tomorrow regarding that. But anyway, so with regards to Brazil, it wasn't announced at D23, and mainly the reason for that isn't because of the whole Amazonian rainforest catastrophe that's going on at the moment with the forest fires, as some are trying to state it is. It's mainly to do with the fact that funding has been a bit shaky on this project. They keep getting funding, Imagineering keep securing at least 200 million, and then the sponsors pull out and, they don't have the funding there to build the pavilion. So I'm going to go through my note here, which is a huge long note about these were all the predictions which I made for D23, and a lot of them in that video I did say likely, less likely, things like that. So with regards to the Brazil Pavilion, it's most likely definitely still going to be coming eventually in the future, but next D23 now, I mean, it could be announced at any point. I did see moments before or days before the expo, a university had posted that one of their previous alumni was off in Brazil recruiting for the Brazil Pavilion. Well, that was probably months before, and they had word that it was going to get officially announced at the expo, and it wasn't because the funding was pulled. So, yeah, the site who should not be mentioned on DSNY Newscast, a certain blog site, they put out on the day of D23 saying confirmed, definitely going to be announced later on in the day, and it wasn't. And it wasn't pulled from the event. It was mainly to do with funding for the pavilion. So then we come to the next thing. So we've got Spaceship Earth. Enhancements to Spaceship Earth. We've been talking about that since 2017. Being officially announced now. The story light is going to be coming to that attraction. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be an extensive renovation. Hopefully, I see a lot of people mentioning the fact that there's going to be some sort of IP integration. And if there is IP integration, it's going to be subtle. Disney know not to heavily put an IP into that attraction. It would be along the lines of, a Moana everyone's trying to say Moana's grandmother is in one of the scenes, but it would be very subtle IP integration if they do go down that route. The one surprise, there are two main things which I was surprised didn't get announced in a larger way. First one being Rock and Roller Coaster over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, because personally I feel like that was kind of a lock that we were going to get some sort of announcement regarding that. Back in 2018, November 2018, New York Times article came out and it said, basically Rock and Roller Coaster is going to get rethemed in some way. And then we had an Attractions Magazine article touring Glendale's, the Imagineering headquarters in Glendale in April of this year, and apparently the Rock and Roller Coaster model is back of the room there. So there's definitely movement going towards Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We just don't know where they're going to land up eventually on this one. But they don't even need to necessarily announce that one at a D23 Expo. I don't think we'll be. Every announcement that we didn't get at D23 this year doesn't necessarily mean that, we're going to be waiting till D23 in 2021. Recently, if we look to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that announcement of it coming to Disneyland was announced on Disney Parks blog. And that could have easily been announced at D23 Expo. I mean, it was 4 or 5 months apart. Why couldn't they have announced at D23? And the main reason there is because Disney are becoming less reliant upon these fan expos every 2-year period to announce these things. They've got Destination D next year. They've got D23 Expo in Japan in February or March time next year as well. And we'll most likely be getting a lot more foreign announcements, domestic, international Disney park announcements regarding Walt Disney Studios Park and the expansion there. And, Beauty and the Beast, maybe ride details, a bit more about that, a bit more of a sneak peek at that, obviously. So we'll be getting a lot more details about Frozen Land. And there's just a lot more that needs to come out. And they're going to be using Disney Parks blog in a bigger way and making these kind of announcements. And in a way, it's great for DSNY Newscast because it means that we get to bring it to you. And by the way, hopefully you guys like the shirt. It says Square Ship Earth has arrived, and it's the new icon of Epcot, obviously, the great big the great big blue and green building right next to it for Guardians of the Galaxy. It seems like most things are going straight to Disney Parks blog, Chris Larson says. Yeah, Chris, you are right. It does seem like Disney now are starting to realize the power that they have within the community, with people like me in the community, with the channel and all of us who watch and consume our content on YouTube and things, and the power that, the influencer, the Disney influencer community has now, that they don't necessarily need to have a fan expo to announce everything. And some people, I've seen the complaints. Some people have said D23 this year was a little bit disappointing. Personally, I don't see it that way. I know that D23 in 2017 was bigger because they had Galaxy's Edge and they had the announcement of, they didn't even announce Marvel in a big way in D23 in 2017. That came later on in 2018. We didn't get much on Toy Story Land in 2017, sorry. 2017 to me was like a smaller year, but a lot of people see it the other way around because we have the Blue Sky concept art for Epcot as well. But this year we've got a lot more details for Epcot. We've got new enhancements to existing pavilions. And I just feel like this year's D23 was bigger in many ways. But let the question goes over to you guys. I'd like to know what you thought about D23 this year, and also were there any things which you wanted to see get announced and didn't get announced, and we can maybe discuss that. Now, coming back to the things which I had listed here, Guardians of the Galaxy name revealed. Yes, we got that. We got the new concept art for that. We got Tron. We got some Tron concept art, which I've polished up and we'll be diving into in a future newscast. Illumination's name, the replacement for name and details. Yes, we've got that. Harmonious. Epcot Future World revamp model shown at Expo. We predicted that. No opening dates. Yeah, I did say it was going to be no opening. Hi there, Ellie Wolfson. I was there, and it really was cool. Yeah, it to me, I lost my mind when the Mary Poppins thing was announced. To me, it's always exciting. It's stressful, as you can probably imagine, because as soon as something gets announced, I'm like, okay, I need to work out what's the big story here. What am I going to cover? And there's still some stuff I haven't truly gone into more depth with and covered because I'm uncovering more details, and I'd rather make a bigger video rather than just reading out Disney Parks blog what got announced. David says, I am concerned with the Epcot overhaul. I wish they would stop forcing IP into the World Pavilions and into the World Showcase, I believe he means, and instead update the land versus IP and places to eat. Yeah, the land didn't get any updates or anything like that, and that was something that was rumored. Regarding the land, supposedly the interior of it is going to get revamped in the next 2 to 3 years. It should be overhauled. So David should be pretty happy about that. I don't expect. It's definitely not going to be demolished, and neither is the Seas Pavilion. That's not getting demolished either. But we are going to see overhauls to the inside of the land to bring it up and make it look like it's. I would love to see some sort of more Oasis theme inside the land and make it more of a living environment inside. Michael, hi there, Michael. Huffman says, it is interesting that they didn't talk about the removal of the rocks in front of Tomorrowland at Disneyland. Yeah, the French fry rocks that began to get removed at the beginning of last week. Yeah, that was actually fairly interesting, that was, Michael. Now, that's another thing. A lot of people were disappointed that we didn't get a Tomorrowland revamp announced. And the interesting thing to understand about this one is that Tomorrowland revamp and the overhaul at Disneyland's Tomorrowland, it's an ongoing project that will, it should be complete by the 70th anniversary. Now, I know that sounds like a long time off the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, but it's only 2025. And we're talking 6 years away, and Galaxy's Edge has been in construction for 4 years. So it's not unreasonable that we'll see it debut around 2024, if not 2025, for that park's 70th anniversary celebrations. And they'll do it in stages like they're doing over in Walt Disney World. You know, we're seeing the Tron get brought in. We're seeing the paint color schemes change around Tomorrowland. You know, we're going to see that take place over at Tomorrowland and Disneyland as well. Who knows? They might just drop some blue sky concept art on Instagram and Disney Parks blog, and we'll dive into it all. Chris says, I wish they would have rolled. Sorry, Chris. I wish they would have rolled out a clear vision for the future. It seems like we just heard some more details on already announced projects. And David says, I agree with Chris. Yeah, it was. What surprised me was the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser being the headline at the end of the whole panel. That was a bit weird to me. I would have maybe started with Star Wars Hotel because we knew that was coming, and you know, that wasn't really going to be a big deal in that kind of standpoint, like a big shocker. And I reckon they should have announced that at the beginning and done it as like, you know, if I was to plan these things, I'd have done existing projects and then I'd have done new projects and built up that suspense. And to end on Galactic Star Cruiser, in my opinion, was a bit of a bad idea. Personally, I'd have ended on the e-ticket Wakanda Avengers ride, which we even mentioned in a previous video just days before the expo, or the Mary Poppins Pavilion, the Mary Poppins Cherry Tree Lane idea. So I'd have ended on either one of those as a big one, but they decided to go with Galactic Star Cruiser, and that's a different decision. I don't know why, but and the Target stuff was not D23 worthy, as Elaine would say. Yes, I personally felt that the Target thing, I was getting concerned at that point because we were half an hour into the presentation. And then we moved from now this panel. Yes, okay. The whole division is now changed into Bob Chapek from Disney Parks to Disney Parks Resorts and products and experiences, or experiencing products. And to me, I just feel like they know what they should be announcing at D23, especially for this parks panel. People aren't sitting down to hear new products get announced. That just gets dropped whenever they want to do that. We don't need to see it wasn't even like the Target store in particular. I am excited to see more Disney integration into the Targets around America, because I feel like if there's, yes, I'm making the move on out to Orlando, where I will be able to be in a Disney park quite often. But a lot of people, it is a once a year or once every other year visit, and they don't get to go and buy the new Disney merch. And hopefully within these Target stores, they'll have more Disney parks merchandise, maybe within these stores as well. And it's more of a touch point. And, when you go to your local Target, you'll be able to have a browse around the Disney product section, which is fantastic. And especially if it's more seasonal as well. So I'm hoping, I'm glad they announced it, but it didn't need to be on as part of the Disney Parks panel. And don't even get me started on the secret Walt Disney Company project that should have been called the secret Disney Plus project. And if they'd have called it the secret Disney Plus project, I'd have been fine with it. I would have been absolutely okay. But I stayed up until 3 a.m. in the morning, my time. I woke up very early on the Thursday, thinking, hey, we're about to get a big secret announcement. And I kept refreshing and checking Twitter throughout the day, and then we got through into the night, and I'm like, oh well, it's going to be announced at 7 p.m. their time, so therefore I'll stay up even later. I even went to bed. I tried having a very short nap for an hour, and then I woke up, and lo and behold, it was an announcement of a new TV show, and I am excited for it. I will check it out. I'm not hugely excited for it. I'm more excited for the Imagineering series. But like you say, David, yawn indeed. I was quite annoyed at that. I was like, okay, that's it. Disney, you've done me for one day. I'm now going to bed. I'll wake up tomorrow. And lo and behold, I woke up to see that the Expo Pavilion had opened, and we had concept art and new models, and we started getting all the details about the Epcot revamp and everything like that. Craig, hi there, Craig. I saw numerous others with the same bait and switch complaint. Come on, Disney. Yeah, to be honest, the problem with D23 is that there's so much expectation put on it, and it's because there's a lot of money that goes into it. It's not an inexpensive thing to go to. It's very expensive, and but I do feel like Disney are less reliant upon it nowadays, and they're starting to switch away to using us, the influencers, the YouTubers, the blog sites and things like that. And they've got us all going. They know they've got the machinery there now. And especially with Disney Plus coming, who knows what will happen? We might even see promos for new, like a 2-minute, hey guys, this is what's coming to the Disney parks, new announcement, play before the latest episode of Mandalorian or something like that. And that could be their new way of promoting new things. So expect advertising on Disney Plus. I know it hasn't been mentioned yet, but the advertising on Disney Plus will be for the Disney parks, and it will be for upcoming Disney movies and stuff like that. They won't miss that opportunity. If you have subscribed to Disney Plus, most likely you're a Disney fan, and you won't mind seeing the odd 30-second promo for a latest thing coming to the parks or something like that. So coming back to this, right? So black box attraction concept, that didn't get announced either. I expect that will be something that probably gets pushed back to 2021, if I'm being honest. I don't think that we'll hear much more on that, because it's a bit of a difficult concept that I think Imagineering are struggling with working out how to implement that one. But classic attractions getting enhanced for the 50th. Now, the 50th, this is the big thing, which is 50th anniversary is right around the corner for Walt Disney World. I saw a tweet, someone said that, holidays are being booked. Families are booking their Walt Disney World 50th vacation in the next 6 to 9 months, and we're going to need details. And I see what Disney are saying. They've got Tron, they've got Guardians of the Galaxy, and they've got Ratatouille, and they've got Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway along Galaxy's Edge. But we need details regarding the enhancements. And I think that the enhancements, as I said in my predictions video, I think that we'll get, I predicted that we'll either get a single slide on it, which we didn't get, which I suppose we did get. We actually got the logo for the 50th anniversary. And then we're going to get Disney Parks blog articles following up on new enhancements, new magic coming to Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, Tiki Room, Fill Our Magic, Big Thunder's going to get the explosion sequence. All of this Jungle Cruise is going to get some enhancements. All of this new magic idea, that's going to be something they'll be able to just trickle out over the course of the next 6 months to 9 months. And in a way, it's kind of genius by Disney, because it's going to be able to dispense for the 50th. And it's going to keep bringing the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World back into the top search results and trend on Twitter time and time again when they announce something new coming. Sorry, I haven't kept up these comments here. Chris says, in fairness, I don't feel like Disney did much to advertise the secret project. Twitter just ran with one line on the agenda. Yeah, I agree with that. And to be honest, maybe I'm partly to blame. I probably am, because I did a whole video on secret Walt Disney Company project. But I just feel like, I personally feel that the title of the project was misleading, and if they didn't want to have disappointment, they shouldn't have titled. They should have titled it more specifically. I think it was too vague, and I think that's the reason why people were misled with it. Ellie Wolfson says, I feel like D23 this year was more for fans than announcements. Yeah, I can see what you mean with the fans aspect. The Epcot, with the Walt statue, Cherry Chewy Lane, that was a great announcement for fans. Bringing Dick Van Dyke out onto the stage, and certainly, the other stuff that we got, Ewan McGregor over at Disney Plus and things like that. But D23, in my opinion, should be about the announcements, but it's becoming more and more about what it is. It's a fan expo. Craig says, I haven't done a D23 yet, but want to someday. Yeah, Craig, I personally have great fun from D23, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it myself. Maybe one day when I'm not doing DSNY Newscast, I'll be able to go to a D23, but even if it's a thing by then. I do feel like D23 should maybe move away from Anaheim and Disneyland, and it should maybe move to, if Disney had a big enough convention center, Walt Disney World would be a better location for it, because they've got more of the infrastructure. But I doubt they'll ever do it there, because they haven't got the big enough convention center to do it there. Sorry, I should really also check Patreon as well. Let me just do that, because sometimes I don't do that. And just want to double check. And then we got David says, should have been a secret Disney Plus project. Yes, I agree with that. Let me just check this. Sorry. 2 seconds. I'm just trying to find it. 2 seconds. Here we go. Just want to make sure that no one's missing out on in the comments read out. Okay. Sorry about this. Let me just jump over to this one. Wait 2 seconds. There we go. Okay, cool. But yeah, coming back to it. Sorry. David says the Orlando Convention Center plenty big enough. Yeah, I've heard. My girlfriend actually said maybe one day they'll do it at the Orlando Convention Center, and it's a good shout to do it there. But the problem which I see of that, which maybe some people don't, I don't know, but I just feel like maybe they wouldn't do it there because it's right across the street from Epic Universe where that's being made, has been created, and I don't see Disney wanting to, even before it's even constructed, it's advertising Epic Universe, and even afterwards it's too close to Universal. So I don't think they'd be able to do it at the convention center itself. But if they had I don't know why they can't build a temporary structure of some sort, build some sort of temporary structure nearby and build off there. But there's, there must be something that they can do to work out how to do D23 in a temporary location. I just feel like, Anaheim probably we saw all the issues with the ticketing and all the other stuff anyway. But let's come back to what wasn't announced. So we got the new daytime parade. We announced that nighttime parade at Walt Disney World. Now this is something which I personally feel is still coming. I've heard rumblings. They could easily announce. It's very puzzling because it makes my job better in a way, because by not announcing so much, it means that we can be the first to announce it, and I can continue to give updates on these projects. I mean, it'd be even better if they were announced, because then we'd have concept art. But we've still got plenty to talk about. So David says, I think logistics to get these stars is easier in Anaheim. Good point there, David. Yeah, I have a friend who used to work the VIP of D23, and he said it's so much easier doing it from Anaheim, because from a movie aspect, they all stay at nearby expensive hotels put up by Disney, and they come in, they do one or two panels and they're off. It's much easier for them to do it, and that's a very good point there. Chris says, I think you were right on, David. Also, so much on the Disney of Disney's at their HQ there. Yeah. So just the executives alone, it's much easier to get in from. And also the archives are based nearby, and that's a big part of D23 as well. So coming back to this, so we got Rock and Roller Coaster on the card still. Brazil Pavilion, less likely so now that the funding's been pulled. I don't know if we'll see that ever. Classic attractions being enhanced for the 50th. Yes, definitely happening. Most likely going to be announced on Disney Parks blog. New nighttime parade or Happily Ever After with a 50th edition be announced on Disney Parks blog. Maybe even at Destination D they could even announce, but that's pretty late next year. That would be November timeframe next year. I doubt they'd announce it that late, but we'll get plenty of the details regarding the 50th then. And we'll probably get the showcase of the Disney Genie idea, because that's coming in late 2020 as well. And then I'm just looking through some of these other things which, okay, so for an example, new Zootopia, Animal Kingdom. I think if they're going to announce that now, we're probably looking at 2021 for an official start date. But then again, they announced Avengers coming to Disneyland Paris, and Hong Kong Disneyland on a Disney Parks blog article back in March of 2018. And they said Avengers are going to be assembling it. They announced that on Disney Parks blog. And now we see how big that project's going to be. And with the e-ticket ride and the Spider-Man and the Doctor Strange Sanctum Sanctorum thing and PIM test kitchens. And we know that's going to be a fairly good-sized land by itself. So who knows? Especially considering that they're already building a Zootopia land over in Shanghai. They may see it as, we can just roll this one out on Disney Parks blog. And that's the thing. I think that we'll see more of these announcements happen on Disney Parks blog. I think that the Tomorrowland revamp for Disneyland, I think that we'll get way more details on that one at D23 in 2021. But we're going to get details trickling out over the next 2 years. We're going to see the People Mover track most likely removed at Disneyland's Tomorrowland, the one that have rocket rods on it. We're already seeing the French fry rocks being removed. So what they're going to initially start to do is just, without making any announcements, just take down the stuff they need to remove out of that land to say, hey guys, now we've removed a whole bunch of stuff. It makes it much easier for us to now just get on with what we need to now start constructing. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see things removed and altered and things like that. We've already seen the permits for it, but we'll be coming out on DSNY Newscast. And then Frozen Land at Disneyland. And I think that we'll get an announcement regarding that maybe early next year. And that's another thing. We've got it coming to Hong Kong Disneyland. And certainly with Frozen being such a big franchise, Disney know that they don't need to announce this at an expo, because something like Zootopia and Frozen, it doesn't really play to the fans, the hardcore Disney fans who attend D23 anyway. it plays more to casual fans as well. So therefore, they feel like they can announce that on Disney Parks blog, and all of the national newspapers will pick up on it, all of the blog sites will pick up on it, all the YouTube channels will pick up on it, and it will go everywhere. And especially once they find out what kind of money Frozen 2 does, because that's the second one in this thing, and that's apparently the end of this story. Once they find out it's made $1 billion again, if not a bit more, and they see the reception that Frozen 2 gets around the world, they're going to greenlight whatever they're going to go forward with. And I reckon we're going to see something at Disneyland as the next big project there for Fantasyland. I don't think we'll see a new Fantasyland, but Frozen and Arendelle being incorporated into Disneyland will be their new Fantasyland, much like we see Belle and Little Mermaid and Seven Dwarfs over there in Walt Disney World. So I feel like they can announce that early next year. Zootopia. We're still waiting on the Zootopia 2 announcement. I thought we were going to get that at D23. But they also know that they could easily announce that one to be coming in 2021. The Zootopia, the film, not the land. Because, what surprised me is that at the animation panel, unlike previous years with John Lasseter, usually we hear films at least 2 or 3, 4 years out. We hear at least the names of these movies. And all we got was the movie for 2020 called Raya and the Last Dragon. And we've got a slot in 2021 for Disney Animation and 2022. And they're both around the Thanksgiving time period. And personally, I think one of those will be Zootopia 2. And they know that they can easily announce that, and it will create its own marketing for that movie. So they don't necessarily need to announce that D23. And if they announce that, and they announce Zootopia Land for Animal Kingdom, and here's the other thing which makes Zootopia Land at Animal Kingdom more likely, with Joe Rohde now heading up this Lighthouse Point project in the Bahamas, he's very fixed on his new pet project. Now, previously it was, his previous projects were Pandora, and before then were the Hawaiian resorts. Well, I always mess up the name for that resort, Disney's Alani, and I probably messed it then, to be honest. But considering that he's now not working actively in Animal Kingdom on new projects there, it'd be a lot easier to bring in a new head of Imagineering for heading up a new project for Zootopia Animal Kingdom, and push Zootopia into the space where Dino Land is at the moment. Keep Dinosaur where it is, maybe, and just change Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, because Primeval World, that's now moved to indefinitely suspended, or temporarily suspended, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it's now under Stitch's Great Escape territory, where it's in limbo between the two. And I personally feel like they're gonna make drastic alterations to that section of the park as well. So we've got a lot to cover on DSNY Newscast. I mean, in a way, D23, they gave us so many details about Epcot, and they gave us so many details about Marvel as well, which was fantastic. So they're going to be the two big projects I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between. Marvel, there's represented, and Frozen Lands as well. We'll be talking about that. And Epcot, just the massive changes coming to Epcot. But as we find out more about Tomorrowland, that's going to become a big focus of DSNY Newscast. And then we've got all the other stuff, which is Frozen Land in Disneyland, and what are the other things? Sorry, I lost track there. Animal Kingdom updates, and also potential of just wild cards, like just have a look here, like Rock and Roller Coaster, what that's going to become, because that's definitely going to change into something eventually. And because it's the sponsorship is, they're not wanting to keep Aerosmith from that zone. It doesn't really fit the rest of the park anymore as much. So they want to update that, especially with Iron Man. Today actually marked the end of Rock and Roller Coaster in Disneyland Paris. So that's been changed into an Iron Man attraction, an Iron Man roller coaster. So we're going to see a lot of changes in the next in the next 4 years, and in the next 2 years, certainly. We've got a lot to track on DSNY Newscast. And by the way, guys, just thank you for subscribing and following us on Twitter and Instagram and on YouTube, and most importantly on Patreon, for all the support that you give DSNY Newscast. It's so greatly appreciated, it really is, because it means that we get to have these private chats back and forth like this. I get to come on here and yes, yeah, just you can see where my mind's at with these announcements sometimes, and where the channel's going and things like that. It's behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain a little bit, and hopefully that you feel like you get exclusive inside looks of what we're going to be doing on DSNY Newscast. Personally, from my personal standpoint, I'm going to be back out in Orlando for the illumination for Skyline opening. I'll be covering that morning. I don't know which one I'm going to be at yet. It'll be whichever one's probably opening the earliest, or I might start off at Pop Century and travel on over to Hollywood Studios, or maybe everyone's going to go to Hollywood Studios, so I might continue on over to Epcot and move straight across and do the whole route there. I'll do a view of the Skyliner, and then we'll be doing Illuminations final night. Holds a special place in my heart, as it probably does for many of you. It was the place where me and my girlfriend went our second date, and so it's a nice little thing for that. And then we've got Epcot Forever beginning on October 1st, and the Epcot Experience Center. So I'm going to be out there October, November, and a bit of December as well. Actually, I'm going to be hanging around until Rise of Resistance opens. Can't wait to ride that attraction. That's probably the one I'm most looking forward to out of everything. But yeah, so we've got a lot to do, and I'm trying to work out right now whether I replicate the current setup, which I have here, in my new studio in Orlando, because as you're aware, I'm making the transition on over to Orlando next year. When I say it's permanent, obviously I will still be coming back to visit my family on a regular basis in the UK, because I'm a big family guy, and I've got to see him on a regular basis. But where the channel will be going next year is I'm going to be coming back to the UK for Christmas, and then I won't be back out in America until March time next year. So I'll be from this couch January, February, March as well, a bit of March as well, halfway through March, and then March, end of March, April, May, June, I'll be out in America. I'll be filming from Orlando around the parks and doing a bit more vlogging, some live streams. These Patreon live streams will be taking place around the parks as well. And I will also have some sort of studio setup out there as well. So if it's tipping it down that day, if it's raining and I don't want to go out to parks and film, I can sit in the studio and do a newscast from the studio instead. So I'll be doing that. And then when I come home to visit my family, I'll be home for like 3 weeks at a time. So I will still produce DSNY Newscast when I'm at home, because I'll still have the studio to come back and visit, my family and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it just makes a lot more sense to do it that way. So that's what we will be doing. And we won't be missing any DSNY Newscasts. So we'll be continuing to power on and cover it all. And we've got a lot to cover. But anyway, so I think we've discussed a lot of new things coming and the reasons why maybe some stuff hasn't been announced. Oh, Journey into Imagination, I want to mention very quickly as well. Figment is definitely safe from what I've heard, but we're going to get an announcement about that probably at 2021 D23. I think that's going to be a big thing. They're going to make a big deal out of it, D23 in 2021, if not Destination D next November, because they know Figment is definitely something that fans love, and they know it's a great way to play to the fans. And they've got some announcements being made around Journey into Imagination, but they just weren't ready to announce them yet. But we're going to be getting that sort of stuff. I've uncovered some patents for Mary Poppins and the Avengers roller coaster, and not roller coaster, but e-ticket attraction. I don't think it will be a roller coaster for Avengers in Disneyland. I don't think it'll be a roller coaster. I think it'll be like they said, a highly innovative new ride system, which will be roller coaster-esque, but simulator / roller coaster / new thing altogether. And it might have been something that you've seen before, but we'll get into that. But anyway, so guys, regarding any silver and gold members there, I'm going to be making announcements fairly shortly in the next week or so regarding the October membership gifts, which will be coming out at the end of September, or they'll be with you in October, and be making those announcements fairly shortly. So thank you for everybody who is a silver and gold member, and thank you to everybody who's a bronze member. And we'll be putting out more content regarding maybe some op-ed pieces, if you like those kind of things. Maybe I like doing these live streams, kind of get to interact with you guys, but I also like to do a couple of op-ed pieces. I'm thinking about bringing back the Dear Disney idea and talking about maybe my forecasting. I can't really call them rumors because obviously they're not. Then it's not being rumored. It's predictions, and I actually really enjoy putting together a prediction video for D23 Expo, and we predicted a lot of this stuff to be correct, to be coming to being announced at D23. So I feel like doing more of those would be fantastic. Just basically, Dave says, you do great work, Jack. Best Disney vlog, hands down. Thank you, David. Thanks for that. And Chris says, thanks, Jack. You're great. Craig says, thanks, Jack. Thank you to you all. It's been a great time. And by the way, guys, I might make this shirt available. I don't know yet. But I haven't worn it inside Epcot yet, and I think I might wear it. I might wear it on the Saturday I arrive. I don't know yet, because I feel like it's quite a funny shirt to wear, and I think at least the security guards will get a bit of a kick out of it, because they have to have a look at that great big building on a regular basis. But anyway, so for right now, guys, until the next time, I'll be doing another live stream fairly soon in the next month or so. So I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.